Not so good,
Mm-hmm.
not so good.
Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on?
Oh, I could tell you quite a bit that's going on. I, excuse my appearance because I literally am just like, I have minimal clothes and things like that to make myself look a little more presentable because I just suffered a horrific fire in my unit, the whole property, as a matter of fact. Um, I just recall looking out the window and I could see smoke coming out the first floor window, and I was getting concerned because it was just a lot of smoke. And then, she had opened the window, and then I was like, okay, good, she opened the window, maybe it's just that when you're cooking, it gets really smoky. But then the fire alarm was going off for like 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and they did not seem like they were concerned about shutting it off. So my son went to go knock on their door to say, hey, do you hear the fire alarm? And he said that there was just so much smoke everywhere.
In your neighbor's home?
Well, they're on the first floor, we're on the second,
Mm-hmm.
and there was just smoke everywhere. So he came back in. The father of my children was there at the time. We're not in a relationship. He just was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get my kids out because now I could see flames coming out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 5 kids. 2 are young. 1 is 3, 1 is like a toddler, and then the other 3 are old, they're teenage, older. And I just was throwing my youngest out the window because the fire department had come at this time. And it was my turn to jump, and I just felt so paralyzed. And they were like, if you don't jump, you're gonna die here. And I just jumped from the second floor. I ended up banging my whole arm, bruised, because there was a air conditioner that I must have hit when I jumped. And I needless to say, I lost everything. And I sat in my car with my kids and just was like, oh my God. I literally had on shorts, a t-shirt, and someone had to give me a sweatshirt or sandal, just because I just was getting comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could think of is, what if my son was sleeping and I'm not home and he didn't hear and didn't know? And I'm thankful that we all got out alive. So now I'm just overwhelmed. I am staying with a friend that has a studio apartment with 2 kids. One of my kids is with somebody else that he plays football with,
Mm-hmm.
and my oldest is with my friend. So we're all separated. And the landlord has not been very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Not willing, I think she was willing to pay 1 night a hotel stay, but then she put it in her name, and I get all the way there, and reservation's not correct, and I couldn't stay, and it's frustrating. I had to go back to Boston, and then Brockton Public Schools. Luckily, I have a contact there. They were able to put me up for 2 nights, but I had to check out after the 2 nights, and then go back to Boston.
Janice, I'm so sorry to hear about what you're going through. First of
Thank
all,
you.
that is a very deeply traumatic experience that you just had. Having to throw your children out the window, losing your home, having to separate your family and your children all together, and then having this very difficult relationship with your landlord. That's a lot. I'm deeply sorry that you're going through that.
Thank you.
And how are you feeling? Just having to go through all of that and jump from a window.
It's as a mother, you take on a lot. Like I said, I'm not with the children's father.
Mm-hmm.
He just happened to be there that day, spending time with them.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this falls on me. I don't work because one of my children has is autistic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very hard for him to be in because if I was at work, I was constantly being called and to come to the school, so I just decided not to work.
Mm-hmm.
But then, bills started piling up. I was at a particular place, but it was small. And then I had this opportunity to move to this place, bigger, and it was like a new start. I went and bought furniture, you know, it was like a fresh start for me, for my kids, and then now this happens. So I've been questioning, like, why is this happening to me? I'm trying to do the right thing. I feel like I have. I take care of my kids. No one else takes care of my kids but me. The father is there, he does what he's supposed to do, but I'm the provider. I make sure that they get to school, they're doing what they're supposed to do. It's me. You know, it's been traumatic for them. They have not been in school, been very sporadic. I'm in Boston. I don't have access to transportation unless someone takes me to where I need to go. I've contacted Boston Public Schools. I've contacted Department of Housing and Community Development. They help with shelter, but they're telling me the shelter is 2 hours away. 2 hours away. I don't have a car. So how am I supposed to look for a place with no car, 2 hours away? I will have to put my kids in a whole nother school district that they don't know, they have no friend. So I'm just like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, it has gone from worse to worse. Like, I just, you know, and I'm hoping that I have an opportunity tomorrow to look at this 4-bedroom apartment. I don't care what it is, I don't care where it is, I don't care how it looks. I am gonna take it because I have no option at this time. My kids need to be, we all need to be together, we need to be stable, and it's affordable. I'm going to have to take it.
Yes.
But I feel like this is all, everything has fallen on me. I know as a mother you're supposed to do these things, but this is really way beyond my scope. To realize in your mind, think, what if my son was in that room and didn't hear that fire alarm and was not able to get out and I wasn't at home? I mean, that as a mother, you think of those things like anything could have happened, but luckily we were able to all get out. So now here I am, I'm overwhelmed.
Like you said, as a mother, you're shouldering this burden, wondering about how this will affect your children, and thinking back to that moment, what if I wasn't home? You're feeling overwhelmed. And that's understandable. It's a lot to process and to go through. And now you're looking at a home, and it really is a difficult situation. And what are some systems that you can lean on, or people that you can lean on to help you support you through this process as well?
Well, one of them that I can't lean on, and it was quite obvious, is the landlord. I mean, technically she should put me up. I have no renter's insurance, so the nice furniture that I was able to purchase, gone. Can't recoup any of that. Those are things, I realize that, but it was a first start for me and my family. When the insurance adjuster was there, she just cared about, like, don't worry about the tenants, what's my damage? And it made me feel like, am I not a human being? I pay you rent every month, and this is how you treat me? So I was not happy about that. Yes, I have a connection with Boston Public Schools, thankfully, and they are trying to guide me in the right direction, and I'm thankful for that. There's a DJ Henry Fund when my son, you know, played football. This particular program basically received donations for us, put it out there that we needed help, and I'm ever grateful for that. We received gift cards to help us get food. You know, I'm on SNAP assistance, so I was able to, you know, because I had just bought food and all of it was lost, so I was able to recoup that. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle because now I'm concerned about all my children, how this has affected them, but I don't have anyone that I could just lean on. Yes, the children's father is present, as he should be, but we're not together. He's just there to do what he's supposed to do as a father, and that's it. But it's me, I'm the provider. I have to ensure my kids get to school, that they're taken care of, they're dressed, they're fed, all of that, which is what you're supposed to do as a mother. But at the end of the day, I'm suffering. I'm overwhelmed. And I don't know what's next. I just get up every day and I'm thankful that I'm up. But yet, then the stressors kick in, the kids, and okay, I don't have a car, so it's like, I gotta ask somebody to take me somewhere. All of these things, and here I am thinking, this was a fresh start for me. But was it really a fresh start, or was it just a place for me to be? So I've been really dealing with a lot of that, a lot of internal stuff, and this is why I'm seeking therapy, because it's been a traumatic experience for me.
Yes, it's a very, very traumatic experience, and you're seeking therapy, and I'm proud of you for doing that for yourself. Are there other things that you can do to take care of Janice and make sure that you're okay as well during this process?
The funny thing is that before this all happened, I was reading my Bible, and I had just, I had on shorts, a t-shirt. I mean, I'm in my house, I'm in my apartment, and I was just reading my Bible, and this is when all this stuff started happening, and I just, I just started questioning God, like, wow, was this supposed to happen at this given time? But I feel like that my faith has really sustained me to keep me going, to get up and know that I gotta take care of these kids, and that is the bottom line. That's what's important to me, is my faith. It's really sustained me. When the landlord says they're gonna do X, Y, Z, they don't do A, B, C. I mean, all these things. Not just checking in on me to say, hey, are you dead or alive? Or what's going on with you and your kids? What do you need? She lives in San Diego. I mean, I was told that she told somebody she's a broke landlord. I've never seen a broke landlord in my life. And that this was her only source of income. I understand and I feel for her, but I have 5 kids. There was a tenant on the 3rd floor, a 65-year-old woman, and then somebody on the 1st floor. And I believe that there's another couple there as well. So, I mean, we were all impacted, and she just doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, the landlord is not caring, she's not being helpful in any way, she's being very selfish, as you mentioned. And you said that you kind of have your children with a few of your friends, and you're leaning on your faith to help you throughout this time and this process. Are there other people as well, or maybe people from the church that you go to that can help support you as well?
I really don't have like a physical place of worship where I attend. I was really just, doing my own affirmations and things like that. I have a friend that I'm staying with in Boston at the moment, but she has a studio apartment. I have 2 kids. She has, I'm infringing on her territory, her place. And I don't want to get her in trouble, because then they'll say, well, who are these other people and what's going on here? And I don't want her housing to be jeopardized. So, I mean, I have to find something quick, fast, in a hurry, and I'm hoping when I go tomorrow to view this apartment, it will meet my need. Hello, Stephanie. What prompted you to come in today?
Hey, so I've just been having this problem with spending specifically, and I want to get to a point where I'm more financially responsible, 24, I'm an adult. I feel like I should have more money stored in my savings at this point. I should be more responsible, but yeah, I just kind of want to work on that.
So to summarize what you just said is that you want to get a better handle on your spending, and you feel that based on your age of 24, that you should be in a more, better financial situation.
Yeah.
So what has prompted you to spend? Like, are there certain triggers or certain activities that are leading you to spend excessively?
So, yeah, I mean, when I was younger, my parents didn't make much. And my father had this gambling problem. And so there was one instance where my parents had saved up a ton of money and they were gonna renovate their home. And then my mom found out that my dad just like blew through all of the savings that they had because of his gambling issue. And so because of that, they ended up going into debt. They had late mortgage payments, and it took them years to recover from that situation. And so because of that, I mean, we never had like material things really. We had the basic, the donated clothes, and I remember thinking as a kid, when I'm older, I'll finally be able to buy the things that I want to buy. I'll be able to wear the clothes that I want to wear, go on the trips that I want to go to. And so I think that's kind of where it started. And yeah, now I get to at a point where I'm an adult and I work and I have my own money. And so my desire is just to buy the things that I want. But yeah, I think that I have to be more responsible.
So Stephanie, you mentioned something that is prompting me for this question. You had mentioned that you witnessed or observed your parents, trying to build up savings and finances, and you mentioned that they were in the process of doing some renovations, and then the money that they had saved together, your father utilized it, for his own purposes. So I want to ask, how did, I'm sure you were young at the time, do you recall anything from that happening, when that occurred? How were you feeling at that time?
Yeah, I recall the late payments coming home and the TV not working, and my mom having to tell us, well, you're just gonna have to do without the TV. I remember my mom constantly complaining about having to buy the cheapest of everything, like the cheapest laundry detergent that didn't wash the clothes well. And yeah, just seeing that made me think, oh, when I'm older, I don't want to be in that situation. I want to buy the things that I want to buy. I want to buy the Tide laundry detergent and the organic eggs and all of those things that I had to watch her complain about.
So how did you feel at those times when you didn't have the best, let's say, detergent, or in terms of material things that your mom had to buy the inexpensive items? How did it make you feel at that given time?
I would probably say honestly that it made me feel like something was lacking, feeling less than my friends, feeling maybe inferior.
Now, do you feel that those feelings have, now that you're an adult, do you feel that those feelings that you may have harbored at that time, do you feel like they have spilled over into your current situation?
Honestly, yes. I think I'm still carrying those feelings, and if I'm being honest, maybe buying the high quality laundry detergent and those types of things make me feel better about myself, right? Like I have more value. So maybe I'm attaching myself to those material things.
Why would those things, whether it's the best Tide or the best
Whatever.
eggs.
Mhm.
Why do you think you tend to put an emphasis on the best, of having the best? Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah. I think that watching and having to use the cheapest brands or the things that don't work correctly, like even paper towels, right? Like Bounty paper towel is a good paper towel, it cleans like other, like differently, and so yeah, maybe I'm attaching my value to those things, and not just that, but like the brand shoes, the high quality clothes, and maybe just wanting to live well, you know?
Now, when did you start feeling these, or having these thoughts or feelings about, you wanna now get into a position where you wanna be, as they say, financially savvy or in a better financial position?
I mean, just my whole life, I remember it started when I was younger and having friends whose families were better off financially, and seeing them wear all of the things that I couldn't, or buy like the name brands, and even be made fun of to a point of, oh, what did you get for Christmas? There were Christmases where I would only get like 2 shirts and some socks, and seeing my friends get the iPhones and the yoga pants and all the things that were fancy and flashy at the time, and just not being able to experience that, and now being in a financial position where I can't afford that, but recognizing that I'm an adult now, I kind of got that out of my system, and I don't want to have to rely on those material things to make me feel valuable or important.
And that's understandable, to let things that have value, make you feel a certain way. Sometimes it makes us feel confident, that our worth is more than someone else's. So I'm sorry that you had to undergo a lot of those feelings when you were younger, and seeing other people receive things that you may at the time were not receiving. So how are you planning on, or have you thought about ways that you can, okay, I'm an adult now, I know value are in certain items. Is there any ways or tips that you have thought of that you could say, I may not be able to get the best paper towel, but I can get this? Like, have you thought about ways that you can kind of overcome, allowing you to get the things, but maybe in a different way in terms of how you're handling your finances?
Yeah, I think that maybe if I budget and stick to my budget, like kind of weekly go through how much I make, what my expenses are, and kind of set out a budget for food and savings and things like that.
Now, what prompted this, to kind of, like, is this something that you're doing as a individual, or, may I ask, is there a partner that you're with, or I don't know your background, but I didn't know if there was someone else that you could work alongside with in this situation as well.
Yeah, so my husband, he's very responsible with his finances. He saves, he doesn't like spending, but he's always, honestly, thankfully given me the freedom to like do what I want with my money. Like the groceries are put on me, but the main chunk of the bills he pays for. And I want to contribute to our home and be wise with my finances, because I don't want him to be like storing up money for a future, and I'm just there kind of irresponsibly spending it all on stupid things.
Now, how does it make you feel when he gives you that autonomy or that freedom to say, okay, I can basically do what I want. I mean, there are certain things that I'm responsible for,
Mhm.
but for the most part, he's giving you freedom.
Oh, I love it. I'm very grateful for it. Yeah.
And what do you love about that?
I do love that he trusts me enough to say, you know what, I trust you to be wise with the finances. He's not being like harsh on me or anything. He's being very respectful. But yeah, I don't want to betray his trust and spend irresponsibly. If he's trusting me to be wise with my money, I want to be wise with my money.
Now, you said something, Stephanie, that really leads me to my next question. It's more so a word. It's trust, the word trust. So you had mentioned that your parents, when you were younger, they were going to do renovations, and your mother trusted that the money saved would go towards the renovations.
Yeah.
So when that didn't occur, it seemed like there was some trust that was broken.
Mm-hmm.
So now looking at where you are right now, and that, you know, your husband has given you the freedom and trust you to have free reign, how can you, if you were to look back when you, at your younger self with your parents, what would you say to your mother at that time, knowing that your husband gives you the trust?
Well, I was always for my mother kind of walking away from their marriage, and I'm never for divorce, but in my parents' case, in certain cases, I do believe that sometimes it is acceptable. And yeah, my father just betrayed my mother's trust many times, and that was one instance, but there were many other instances where he was unkind, where he didn't consider her feelings. And so I wish that I could tell my mom to leave, truthfully, that it doesn't get better, because it hasn't gotten better until now.
Okay.
But it's her choice.
Right. So now looking at your situation where you are presently, and your husband gives you the trust, let's just kind of reverse that. What if he didn't give you that trust and that free reign? How would that make you feel? Would that make you feel like your younger self, or how could you, change the situation in that regard?
Just like I mentioned, budgeting wisely, and maybe leaning on him as well, telling him, hey, I'm having trouble with excess spending. Can you kind of sit with me weekly and go over a few things and support me through this?
Stephanie, that is a great, and I was getting ready to lead to that. I was going to ask, how is the dialogue when it comes to finances between you and your husband? It sounds like you're willing to be open and honest, and go to him and say, this is what I'm having trouble with, and to lean on him. How would he respond? How do you think he would respond to that, by having that open dialogue and communication?
I think he would be thankful that I'm actually taking the step to be more responsible, and I think he would be supportive. He would be supportive.
But in the meantime, are you working on taking steps, or do you have a plan in place for yourself to say what I need to do, and if you do, what are some examples that you are doing?
I think, yeah, like you mentioned, I will sit with him and talk about this, and kind of go through the budgeting and see how much we can put towards savings, and kind of what needs to go towards groceries, and maybe kind of having a strict grocery list and not going crazy on stupid things and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.